Be it resolved that books are superior to TV. Books. The very topic brings joy to my heart. I believe they've become my mark of identity here at Shaftesbury. It's very significant that the judges at our last debate decided, when we won by a razor-thin margin over our esteemed opponents, that our reward should be a book. And they thought I should be not without a book even when I go to the John. And so I am now the proud owner of my first bathroom book. No doubt you would expect us to acknowledge our judges, our esteemed judges. They come with a distinguished history of carefully crafted decisions, of which we were the beneficiary the last time. We applaud their fairness, their wisdom, and their total dedication to truth. So that is my introduction to our debate today.
Description of verse should have been a little bit more lower at the level that we could understand. But anyways, honorable judges, esteemed opponents, fellow co-worker, Joe, I am sure that we can prove that the opponents are wrong on what they're saying. With the new television, the new telecommunications that we have, it impresses a lot of people that far areas that we can reach nowadays beyond just a couple of miles, but the extreme mileage, kilometers, light years, because we're going to Mars, and we do need a lot of communications between the people who are going to be up there and down to Earth. And I am sure that we're going to prove that television is better than books.
Allow me to transport you back to those earliest memories, transported on magical journeys provided by books. Did not our day wind down peacefully? Did not our imaginations grow, our world expand, our bonds with our parents deepen, even if we didn't know it at that time? Curious George, or Lafcadio, the lion who shot back, or the works of Jane Austen, The Secret Garden, Dr. Seuss, or Lucy Maud Montgomery, you just knew that little minds were expanding, ideas were being formed, dreams imagined, and for those precious moments, all was right with the world. I will leave you with these vivid images of the power of books.
But I can make a strong argument for why television is the superior medium. Have you ever been to Mars? Have you ever visited the Milky Way? Have you ever been in the orbiting spaceship and seen the sun go up and down within the same 3-hour period? I have. How? Through the medium of television. And one of my arguments is that television exposes us to aspects of our world that we otherwise would have no access to. I could not possibly in a lifetime visit the places that I have seen and learned about on television. Even when I read, even when I read Around the World in 80 Days, despite the fact that I have a good imagination, I could not possibly summon up in my head the images of places that were made available to me through television. So that's my first argument. What? through the medium of television. I have plumbed the depths of the ocean. I have explored the life of coral reefs. I have seen eagles and eagle chicks. I have seen every type of cat that exists. I have learned about wildlife in Africa. Just the other night, Ann and I were watching a program called The Bears of Durango, Colorado. One of those bears got into my son's backyard yesterday. He lives in Kamloops. But the point I'm making is that television offers us a view of our world that we would not otherwise have. So thank you.
I have some props too. Comic books. You know, when Raymond and I
Never have known.
talked about the strategy for this debate, we were under the expectation that most of you here have already agreed that books are better than television. And that our approach today might better be to reflect back to you that perception, rather than being too argumentative, despite this being a debate. First point would be that books remain an essential feature in our daily life. And one piece of evidence that I would put forth relates to how we use the internet when we want to answer a question. So you Google the question, and a number of those replies are listed. And notice that many of those replies refer to Wikipedia. And what is Wikipedia? But an e-book in the cloud being added to and edited to keep it current and reasonably accurate. But they remain books, nevertheless, essential in preserving our heritage. And further, books are part of the movement to recycle, as witnessed by the hundreds of books donated to the Children's Hospital book sale each year in Winnipeg here. By the way, you notice there's no similar fare for television? When they pass their usefulness, they are cast aside and a new one is bought. The point would relate to books that books contain information that stimulates our minds and imagination well beyond. I were in Australia. There was a point made in a guidebook, when watching koala bears. Don't stand underneath a koala bear when it's up on a eucalyptus tree. It will pee on you. What are you thinking? What images come to your mind? What wincing do you found in legal libraries in this book? The bathroom book. Books are essential in preparing of a turtle on a TV screen, eh? And I could go on, but my 2 points are up and time is up.
That from there, my parents moved to a small village that might have been 15 homes. Yes, there was one television in the little town, and all of us piled into it on a Saturday night to watch. Again, that truth exploded throughout the world. You were opening up to many true facts, a reality that you can see the truth. You can penetrate it. The colors is visual. You are in there. Sometimes even when they show certain shows, sciences, you feel like you're in it, part of it. Whereas a book, if you're not that interested, you're lost. Whereas television can draw you in, and something was remaining there. When you write some answers on your exams, you visualize, you see them from your television, the speaker especially reading a book just to see how it ended. But it was so boring, it took me lifetime. Whereas if I was interested, I would read it overnight. And television is over in 2 hours. Or after supper, a lot of times I eat my supper in my room because I have supper with them. While they are out in Sarnia, I'm here in Winnipeg. And my granddaughter loves it, especially when she demonstrates to me that she can use her fork and knife. Meanwhile, she spills it all over. But it's memories that I am right there, and right there I'm seeing them. I travel with them when they go to.
Number one, if a table or a shuffleboard at Shaftesbury is uneven, put a book under it, and all of a sudden you have balance. Is your posture declining? Put a book on your head, and then soon you can walk straight up with your head held high. Books can bring closure to a bad guy's shenanigans. Do you remember the famous line on Hawaii Five-0? Book 'em, Dano.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Books can help enormously in one's dating life. Perhaps as a young person, you remember trying to attract the attention of a handsome, charming young person who was on the bus with you every day going to school, and at the same time you wanted to show your intellectual acuity. You could bring books with you. War and Peace, Catcher in the Rye, Lady Chatterley's Lover, maybe all three, and how you would impress and get to know this person. Books are recyclable. That's why we have libraries. In fact, many books increase in value over the years. Ever try to sell a used TV? Books are flexible. You can bring them to the beach. You don't need a long extension cord over the sand. You don't have to worry they're going to blow up on you. When you buy a book, you don't get a message, batteries not included. Oh, I know, you don't take them to the dump or burn them unless you're a member of the Taliban. Oh, I know you can get a small TV and even use an iPhone, but that's a compromise. Books are so important, we bring them to court, you know, like a Bible. So you can swear on a Bible in the court. We just swear at TV. And finally, second prong.
book.
It's not
Called
a
a dictionary.
Oh. Yeah,
And I brought a dictionary with me because any debater worth their salt will first look as a verb to make arrangements such as you can use a cell phone to book a table, but don't forget a cell phone is not television just because it has a screen. It's an internet device that is used to book something. When book is used as a verb, a whole world of experience is open to us. Will you smell the popcorn? You smell the beer. Hear the cheer of the crowd say yes. Even join in the wave. You can even book a trip to Australia, but beware of standing under a eucalyptus tree when looking at koala bears. Remember? So in closing, book versus television is hardly a challenge. Noun and verb outclass just a noun alone, as they cover most, if not all, of life's experience you can think of at first hand. Book offers far better. Where's your, there it is. There's the television.
Very modern.
Are devices to get onto the internet, but they're not television. And so we would say that some of the points made using things like cell phones is not appropriate for this debate.
very good points. I'm not denying that they didn't. But these books, especially this dictionary, is outdated. Look at the size it is. Look at the printing of it. It's worthless, but all its updates and everything it doesn't have in there, and I can prove that. My cousin in the 1800s, you're outdated by at least 1 million words. At least. And I'm not even exaggerating. With television, if you phone them in and you ask them if this is true, they have the answer right there and then.
From Wikipedia, which
No.
is an ebook.
It would be
Yes, but television is so boring. I'll bet you everyone in this room has watched television with 55 channels and not found one worth
that's
watching.
not true.
The fact of the matter is that some of the classics of literature that are used to defend how wonderful literature is are books that nobody has read, or hardly anybody has read. How many in this room have read War and Peace? 3. How many in this room have yet read Ulysses?
I started it.
We all started it.
We champion a medium, and it's a fine medium, a wonderful medium. And like my distinguished opponent, I too have written in that medium and reviewed in that medium. We champion it despite the fact that its use is limited. You know who the best-selling author in North America is? What's her name? Danielle?
Danielle Steele?
Steve.
Steel.
The one who writes the Pulp Fiction, the one who's inspired the worst of television, Desperate Housewives of New York.
Oh, God.
We have to think about usage, audience. How many people watched the Olympics?
Millions.
How many people have read about it in a book? Your outreach with television is phenomenal. Your outreach with books is much more limited. And we just have to admit that that is a reality.
Right.
And I loved the fact that you can straighten a tabletop with a book, but that doesn't make it better than television. It just makes it better than a crooked tabletop.
Even for cooking recipes, you watch and they teach you step by step. And television has opened up a lot of things for many people. Even if you don't speak the language, you're able to understand. For mute people, Braille books cost thousands of dollars to print, whereas television has got the sub and they speak to you. And the person who's blind even can watch television and is drawn in. Because sometimes television speaks clearly and loudly to make you understand what we need as human beings.
One of the greatest inventions of the world was the printing press.
The what?
And the
The
printing
printing
press, which allows for the creation of books. And books tell us our history. And if we don't know our history, we're bound to repeat the errors of the past. And so books are so important in recording our history, in bringing to life our history, the good and the bad, and allow us to move forward in ways that benefit humanity.
Yeah, doors that we cannot reach them or access to them because some people think that we cannot understand them. There are millions of books that I would like to get my hands on, but we are not allowed, or we don't have the qualifications to read these books.
Countries.
And the people are watching Atlanta Super Channel in their homes. Now, I don't know what that did for them. I can't tell you what the impact was. But if they didn't have that, I'll bet you dollars to donuts they wouldn't have been reading books.
Nope. So we had a very tough decision to make, fellow debaters. You made some quality points here today. We really like your points, and we really like your points, but our dear judge decided that this time we're gonna go with. Can we have a drum roll? Who's the winner, Judge?
Yeah, the winner.
So television is better than books today.
I've always enjoyed books, but I even like more on television. When she kisses, I can feel it in my cheeks. Thank you.